Welcome to the Employee Advocacy and Influence podcast. My name's Lewis Gray. My co-host today is Elliot Elsley, and our special guest from Storyblok is Alexandra Asanova. So, Alexandra, first and foremost, welcome to the show. Could you just introduce yourself and your role for our listeners?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Alexandra Asanova. So I'm a senior social media specialist and the lead of employer advocacy at Storyblok. And I'm super happy to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation, guys.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. And for the listeners' context, we started talking earlier this week because Storyblok actually ranked in one of Disseminate's leaderboards. So for anybody that's unfamiliar with those, they essentially rank organizations in any given industry based on the percentage of their employees who have posted on LinkedIn over a 30-day period. And Storyblok actually ranked second for their industry, which is computer development, software development, which is a huge achievement. As anybody working in tech will know, this is a very, very busy space. So naturally, we wanted to have a conversation, but we spoke about a couple of things in the run up to this recording, and we've identified two topics that we really wanted to unpack on this episode. So the first one is, we'll often say on the podcast, you can't buy employee advocacy, you need to have a great company culture. Alexandra explained that Storyblok's culture has been a huge asset in trying to get this off the ground. And we're going to kind of dive into how she's built this culture of sharing from the inside out. And then the other thing, it's a problem that I'm sure anybody managing an employee advocacy program has experienced at some point. Employees will often copy and paste posts that have been provided to them for sharing. But of course, what we want them to do is utilize features to customize those, whether that's with AI or just with adding a personal touch, or, you know, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is for employees to just be writing their own content, of course. But we're going to unpack all of that. So I guess the best place to start, Alexandra, is with the company culture side of things. So you mentioned that Storyblok's culture had a huge difference on your program, but what was it about the culture at Storyblok and what was the impact?
Yes, I think it's fair to say that the culture starts not just with employer advocacy, but within the company itself. So I guess from day one, when a person joins the team, it's a combination of how your colleagues greet you, how you feel about the workspace which you're joining, so the conditions and whatsoever. Because I remember even myself when I joined 3 years ago, the company seemed not to exaggerate, but so great that essentially because we're emotional human beings, right? So it creates this initial natural feeling of, okay, when we achieve something, when there is something going on in the company, I'm more willing to share about it, to be vocal about it, because I genuinely enjoy working there. So I believe in the product itself and so on. And I mean, of course, to maintain this within the company. So I feel what is really well done at Storyblok is that even from the leadership side, so when we have some news coming around, some events, some features whatsoever, it's really well explained to all the team members. So we have trainings, webinars internally and so on. And that way also, when you actually get an understanding of what are you talking about, how you can talk about it with other people, I feel it also creates this base where you're not afraid to share something out there, to appear as maybe someone who doesn't know what's happening. So you have this really, really great base of knowledge, of support and so on. And another great thing about it is that the culture itself, and it's also how we try to maintain it, also with employer advocacy program and in other aspects, is very supportive. So it's let's say if someone shares something on LinkedIn, most likely 80% of the time, if team members see it, they will like it. They will maybe leave a comment or share if it's something super big newsworthy. So it's kind of also, I think, one of the great pillars, because probably we've all been or knew the situations when you don't like the place you work, or maybe you have like these annoying colleagues and you're like, this person already posted something, like, and you just scroll. So but yeah, I feel like this cultural like pillar of that, everyone is, super respectful, they're super supportive, like, and this is also the space where people are not afraid to bring their ideas. So I guess if I kind of explain it in a short, like in a nutshell, so that's one of the things that still amazes me. And of course, that helps boosting employer advocacy and all the initiatives that we have within the company.
It's really interesting to hear. It's actually something that we look at quite often, when we go through qualification processes for new business and things like that. Glassdoor is an area that we look at. And so just looking at people's like company culture, just how people are kind of reacting. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's such an easy indicator for how good a company's going to be at employee advocacy. And if we're ever kind of unsure if somebody's kind of ready to buy and whether it's the right fit for them, we'll often look at Glassdoor just to see kind of what their rating is, where they kind of sit, because it's very, very simple. If somebody's got, not that many companies have this, but if somebody has 1 star on Glassdoor, it's usually a pretty good sign that people won't share any content for them. Was there a social kind of sharing culture when you joined the business, or is it something that's kind of grown over the last few years?
Yes, there definitely was. And I can say that it developed. So let's say when I just joined, like we had more focus on the corporate profile. So let's say, like if we had some internal events, or if our, for instance, partner team traveled to visit partners. So we were doing so-called, like, let's say, partner takeover. If we talk about the partner side, so like the partners would take pictures, videos, like write their little impression of how the meeting went, and we would share it on our corporate socials to kind of spotlight our like partner agencies, also give a shout out to like our partner team, because still at the end of the day, like it's human to human, right? So like even though businesses, obviously, like you can work in B2B, B2C, it doesn't matter, but still there's like a person behind each process. And so yeah, we tried kind of to make it work from our corporate accounts back then. But then like I think like a year and a half, we decided to a little bit shift it, and also like promote more that our team members can also be vocal and share more of this type of content from their personal profiles. That way, like also building like their own brand out there. So and like be even more human, because obviously like now there is a lot of things may go like from like corporate pages, but I still feel like people connect more. And also the style of how maybe the message can be written, it can be more personalized to how this person communicates in real life. So how this emotional bond is created. So, and that way it's progressed. And now within like the partner team, marketing, people's team. So when there is like any news that's like, for example, we already shared maybe on our corporate profiles, or it's like too specific, so like maybe too connected, too much connected, like to their like day-to-day work. So I can see that people are sharing like more and more from their accounts. And that's why we also did, but we're going to talk, I think, about it like later on. We did like a social media course to help like all the team members to actually leverage that. So to bring out like their voice out there and to start building their personal brand on their socials as well.
I'm glad you've touched on it, because it was the next question I had lined up. You mentioned training earlier, and about the fact that you receive so much training internally on like the products and new features and stuff like that. And stood out to me in our initial conversation. You've obviously taken the same approach with getting people to not only post on LinkedIn and social media, but to do it well. which I think, when you've got people who don't want to post because they're worried about what people are going to think, whatever it might be, that is such a, I don't know, it's such a great way to kind of alleviate those fears. But what was the reasoning behind it? And could you maybe just share a little bit of the impact that you've seen as a result of it as well?
Yes. So the main reason was that we actually at Storyblok have like two types of employer advocacy programs. So like one bit of it is using a tool. So where, let's say, where I create posts for our advocates and they can just share it within tools. So pretty similar to like your tool, guys. So and then we have another one, and we were thinking, okay, but what can we do with people who are actually not in the program, but maybe they want to post something of their own? And I have a great example. That is my manager. So he's more responsible for like PR, and he runs his LinkedIn, just sharing his experience from like his role, so what he faces, maybe what challenges day to day. And then all of a sudden, let's say when we have something to share like connected to Storyblok, he incorporates it within also this post, this messaging. So, and it works really great because first of all, he earns already trust of the other like PR professionals because they follow him for his kind of insights. And then second of all, so of course, for Storyblok, it's beneficial because when he covers something related to the business, so it gets like a higher exposure, higher trust, so and more people sees it. And we thought it would be so great if like more team members would also like implement it, of course, if they want to, like into their like day-to-day work. But I think the major problems for like all of us is that if you don't do something already, you kind of maybe don't know how to start, how to find time for it. Like you just sit there, there's like a blank page, and you're like, okay, what should I write about? Like how should I speak? How should I approach this? So, and for that reason, like the social media course was created. So basically there I tried to like unveil this thing, like how the algorithm works, how people can start. Like I provided certain examples of like top kind of posts from our team members that's already out there and that are doing this, and also from other industry professionals, and kind of showed that each of these successful posts that people see online, they can be kind of turned into prompts. So let's say you see some maybe leader from like, I don't know, tech industry, right? And the person is sharing like, I don't know, exactly 2 years ago, I did this in this place and that brought me to this despite my fears. So if you see that kind of structure of each of the posts, it may give you like a really well idea to get inspired also for like your own stories. And because like as I mentioned before, many people don't know maybe what tools they can use, how they can incorporate it into their schedule, how they can connect it to their role. So like one of the major also things in the course was how they can even optimize their profiles. I mean, even if they don't post maybe as much, but for people to be able to like find them easier, like if they're searching for a certain products or for certain solutions. So like, because like many people are not aware that this is also what's helping for like the search to like bring them to this people. And another big thing was also that, let's say, if we talk about LinkedIn, when you connect to someone, right? And this is essential, I think, for like also like BDRs, like sales team. So let's say you connected with someone, but then at the same time you maybe liked or commented on some post, right? And this recent connection most likely will see some of the posts that you interacted with. Like this is just at least how, like when I open my feed, so how it works, so how I see it right now. And this is also helping. So even if you're not writing, right, you can still help like the business to get more visibility, to like get more reach. by doing even these like simple actions of just like interacting with the like post that contains information that may be interesting to like your prospects.
I think that's such a important point from a perspective of kind of getting people into advocacy generally and just social media in general from a workplace perspective. It's interesting that you say from the social media kind of training perspective, talking to people about how to update their profiles and those things. Do you find you tend to have a bit of a split in audience where you might have, and I'm going to say this in the politest terms, the sort of non-digital natives, perhaps the senior leaders at the business, they tend to need more help with the sort of functional side of posting on social media, like how to update their LinkedIn profile, what to do in that regard. And then newer people in the business are unsure what to say. Do you find it's that similar balance?
I would say at least how it works for like in our company. So that's maybe not the senior leaders like needed help to update their profiles because most likely they've been in the industry already for so long, so they're all set and good. Maybe could question how often do they post, but we're working on it. So, but yeah, I would say like other team members like from sales, from product, from marketing, operations. And for instance, like you ask also about results, just to circle back to it. So like we had 70% of completion of this course, and if I look at the numbers from like drop down between departments, it was like 74% of sales team. So you can instantly see that kind of the most maybe interested people. And of course it's because like you're trying to find like customers, like to connect with them and so on. So in terms of the ratio that you asked, that's like I would say that's what would be great, because like the general mass, like all the team members, no matter if they're like C-level or like managers or like specialists or whatsoever, I feel like they struggle with like tweaking their regional maybe like information that's out there. So let's say if we want to highlight some news and we provide like a copy or two for them to share, I feel like the main struggle is okay, how do I personalize it? And if I just share it like that, or do I like what do I do? Like because it's from also the social like media manager perspective. Obviously, when you write posts, you spend a lot of time, even if you like already created a draft, to like kind of adjust it to the tone and the voice of how the company speaks, but then also not to sound robotic, like it went straight from like ChatGPT or whatsoever. So I feel like this is like the major kind of issue that's like I believe all the companies face right now. But from our side, and I know, guys, that's from the previous conversations with you, that you're building something similar. So like we also jumped on that problem, and within our product offering, we will also have this type of thing where you can, like, based on the information, like let's say on the article, you can train AI to like personalize it on your parameters, on like how you speak, how maybe based on the post you already released and so on, to sound more like you. So it's like at the moment for us, like in the testing. So, but maybe to give you a little bit of like where can I see it, how it works. Like our CEO and founder Dominic, he's right now started to like be more active on LinkedIn, and he's testing it right now. So we're like going to release it in the beginning of 2026, and it's going to be part of the product. I believe we're not competitors, because you guys have like employer advocacy. We're like more like content management, so it would be just like one bit of it. But yeah, just to kind of give an idea that for people who struggle out there, that they would be a more personalized solution, because even with like all the AIs like ChatGPT, Cloud, let's say if you're just like a regular person who works maybe like in operations and you want to share something, most likely you don't want to pay subscription for ChatGPT because it's not part of your daily job. And then there is like a limited amount of prompts that you can use. And that way also, I think the quality is slightly different than from the paid subscription. So I feel like this is really great. I don't know if you guys want to touch on it a little bit on how it's going to look like in like your platform. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's ever so slightly different. So we've got two different functionalities with it. It's the company voice feature that I think we've spoken about, where you can train the AI to kind of write in the way that you would write as a company. So to make sure everything's compliant first and foremost, but then you've got the end user functionality as well, where they can train AI to suit their tone of voice. So you have the compliancy, but then whenever a user shares, you also have them kind of applying their tone of voice to it as well. But they all solve the issue that we wanted to touch on, right? Which is the issue of employees jumping into a platform or being provided posts to share, and they share it verbatim. You know, you've hosted some great training. God knows we've seen it. We've interviewed so many people on the podcast who have said the same. They've done everything they can to try and encourage an employee-generated content. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, the easy option, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, we want to share, but the easy option is just to copy, paste onto LinkedIn and hit share. Now, there are small tweaks that you can make, obviously. Like we generally would just say, you know, if you can just tweak the opening sentence, you know, there's those minor things that you can do. But from your side, Alexandra, has it been the same reason, do you think? Is it more just a time thing? Like, what reasons have you seen that people don't want to or don't seem to change the post that they're sharing?
Yeah, I feel like it's maybe also a part of like motivation. So, and this is one thing that we like try to tackle, and I feel like it works now more. So, let's say with like the tool that we use for employer advocacy, so we can gamify kind of their process itself. So, for instance, like each month we have like 3 winners that we award them like some bonuses based on their performance, like how many posts they shared. Did they do tweaks in this post? So let's say if they did some tweaks, then they get in the tool like extra points for it. And that way it brings them higher than like maybe some other colleague of like, you know. So, and also with this, like I place there some actions, like if they like, if they repost it, if they comment, and I always try to see if that really helps or not, because in one point, it's like when we were heavily promoting like one of our flagship events this year, I was like, okay, even if people don't post maybe more, I still want them to engage more. So, and I went to this tool and I was like, okay, maybe I can add more points for people liking and like commenting and sharing, like reposting sort of. So that way, like even that small action will bring them higher than their colleague, and they will like most likely to try to win this like bonus at the end of the month, you know, go in and take an action. And same happens with tweaks. So once we announced internally that, okay, for tweaks of like each post, even if it's like an opening sentence, as you said, you will get these many points. I can tell that it's shifted the game a bit. So like most of the time, yes, like there is various reasons. So it's maybe time, lack of knowledge, and then motivation. So, but maybe at least if the motivation part is motivating them enough, so I feel like, yeah, people will be more willing to like do, yes, like certain tweaks and changes.
I always find people tend to take the path of least resistance with these things. So if there is an easy way for somebody to do it and it appeases those that, you know, perhaps people aren't as invested as of yet, we understand. But some people come to this and they go, I'm sort of being encouraged to share, so I'm just going to do it to appease everybody. And that's great in its own right, because it kind of tends to build a habit with somebody where they get to the idea of, actually, this is starting to work for me and I'm seeing the value and I want to tweak it. But it's a really interesting point of just encouraging just that tweak. Just, again, I'm a big fan of the idea of sort of habit building products and things like that. So just encouraging people, hey, make just a little edit to this and it will make a difference in the results. We know that. But also, is going to help you get used to editing and writing and changing copy. And over time, hopefully you can go, hey, there's no caption available for you here, just write your own, and people will be more comfortable. Obviously, that's for anybody that runs an advocacy program, you'll understand that's a utopian dream to get to, where everybody's writing their own captions and their own copy and they're doing it every day. But at that point, advocacy programs won't necessarily be needed, but we're a long way from that for most people. And being able to just encourage these little behaviors, whether it's using a tool or not, makes a massive difference from my perspective.
I'm glad you touched on the leaderboards as well, Alexandra, because there's something that, all of our clients will utilize, but we even utilize this within Disseminate. Obviously, we use our own tech, and we have a similar functionality where there's a leaderboard for people who have personalized their shares. So obviously, we'll still provide content. We really give minimum captions, I would say, just because practicing what we preach, everybody wants to write their own posts anyway. But yeah, we'll get super competitive. Even still, we want to know whose post, who customized their post and who generated the most engagement off the back of that. And I think that competition, or that friendly sense of competition, usually just encourages more of that behavior. And like Elliot's alluded to there, it just kind of helps build that habit. I know, obviously, what's great to hear is about your senior leadership team as well. Like within tech, obviously, generally speaking, it's a bit more forward thinking as an industry, and tech leaders tend to gravitate towards these things anyway. But just thinking about the wider industry, if I could, just thinking about kind of looking ahead over the next couple of years, what role do you see employee advocacy and employee generated content playing in how companies market themselves in 2026 and beyond?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to develop more, and like people have already like invested more in the content that's published by like individuals, so rather than corporate accounts. I can see that let's say even with like a certain amount of people like from our side, like who are advocates, posting and sharing content each month, like we get I would say around 1 million reach, which is like, I would say, of course, like a free maybe reach, right? So on the top of the corporate numbers that we get. So and I feel like this speed is very maybe foolish if like companies don't use, because like even with like ads that you run, you spend much more than you could spend for like employer advocacy company, and like the little prizes that you can give to like your team members for them being active and out there. So, and also like maybe you also saw this trend that now on LinkedIn, like people with like influencers, or like I don't know, just regular people, their posts get much higher ratio of like likes, engagement, exposure. So corporate accounts, no matter how great they are, still kind of a little bit behind. So I feel like it's definitely going more towards that brands like should jump on the train of like adopting and implementing employer advocacy, because otherwise they're just missing out on this like massive numbers of people they can reach with it.
I think the one area that people often don't talk about that much, LinkedIn is a very expensive place to advertise, and no matter how you sort of cut it, every other social media channel is significantly cheaper but doesn't kind of get the same results, particularly in the B2B world. It is absurd how expensive LinkedIn can be to advertise, and if you're not kind of finding ways around that, you're just missing out, in my opinion. Like, you're just sort of spending money that you don't need to, using employees and just activating employees more. You're just saving, well, we've got figures across all sorts of different clients, smaller clients saving thousands and tens of thousands, up to the millions that people are saving by just, utilizing employee networks, encouraging employees. I've seen social budgets slashed off the back of it as well, where, hey, we're generating the same results here and we just don't need to be spending this money anymore.
I think the added bonus to that as well, the attention that it draws to your company page. Obviously, Alexandra, you've just kind of described this perfect storm that's led to a surge in demand for employee advocacy and employee-generated content. But we had a fantastic conversation with a lady from Amnesty International last week. Obviously, a huge non-profit organization, but as a result of them being a non-profit, they don't have huge marketing budgets. And she was basically explaining that since they've been trying to leverage employee-generated content and employee advocacy, the followers on the company page have grown at a rate that they just weren't growing before. Because naturally, if your employees are posting, obviously it benefits them significantly as well. You mentioned about the sales team, but the attention that it then brings to your brand is unmatched. And like you said, when organic reach is unfortunately through the floor for company pages on most platforms, it's kind of the best, and it feels like the only way to get your name out there. So Alexandra, I really appreciate you sharing everything from the wins, the training, and being so candid about the things that maybe aren't going the way that you want them to at the moment, because I promise you are not alone in that. As we've just described, it's issues that everybody seems to experience at some point or another. But obviously, with the right tools, training, as you've implemented, these are things that we can work to resolve. So Alexandra, thanks so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me. I got so nervous at the end.
Oh, of course. It's an absolute pleasure, honestly. We really appreciate it. We'll leave all the resources that we've mentioned in the comments below. But thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll join you next week.